Oh my goodness, it feels good to be back. I can't remember the last time we got bumped by FC Cincinnati on a Monday night. I always thought it was safe, the sacred podcast evening, but I guess that's League's Cup for you. FC Cincinnati advanced to the round of 16, yet that is not what any of you guys want to talk about. No, I see the tweets and Facebook groups mutter about only one thing, and that is Wednesday night is the cutoff of the trade window. And it seems to be what everybody's hopping about. Will Chris Albright have an answer? Is he still the man? As a center back, our only relief this window? Fans have high expectations, and I mean, I get it. It's not crazy to look around the league and see the 5 best teams and what they've added, and heck, even Charlotte's looking scary after beefing up with several of their weak spots now to add to that strong back line they already had. Is the faith in Albright wavering? I want to see how my fellow staff members are thinking, and also those of you following along. I think this is our last episode with knock on wood with Twitter being broken. If you are normally a fan that likes to watch along on the old X.com, it's coming back. It's just taken us a long time to diagnose the problem, which turns out it's just Elon Musk wanting to charge us more money. So we finally have admitted defeat, ponied up, and gave the man his true desire in this world, my dollars and your dollars too, I guess. So we'll move on from that and jump right into it. Let's introduce the team. I'm Boston Brazel. You're listening to something like episode 383 of Cincinnati Soccer Talk, joined by Brian Weigel, Brian Biedenbach, and Jason Ashcraft. Looking forward. These are some of my favorite hosts. I'd say that no matter who's on, but we'll start with you, Brian Biedenbach. Introduce yourself. Tell us your best and worst. How's your week going? Is a new baby coming along the way? What's going on?
There is absolutely no new baby coming along. No chance of that. And I was thinking, if we would have gone live right before we actually did go live, people could have heard the end of that conversation.
3 to the wolves there, B.
Yeah, he did. He did. No new babies here. We're good with the 3 we have. I am coaching my youngest. And so you asked how my week was going. I'm coaching at our high school now and getting that season off to a start. And it's, shoot, man, being back out on the field is awesome. But I am so sore every night. Oh, it's taking a toll on me, but all good. We jumping into our best and worst. Is that what we're doing here tonight?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Crush it.
All right. I'm going to go, gosh, I'll start with my worst tonight here at the top of the show. Losing more players to injury. We've got Yamil Assad out now with what I think is an MCL injury. I just feel like we're dropping. We lost one of our keepers too, right? Was it Khan?
Yeah.
Khan's out for the season.
He's out for the season.
Yeah. So, he didn't see a whole lot of time, but man, I just hate seeing our guys go out and go down for the season. So that's my worst. We just lost another one for at least a little bit. And who knows what condition Lucho's in if he's 100% coming back. But my best, I'll tell you what, I've been really impressed by Cheeto Awaziam. He has been a huge pickup, I think, for us in the back as a solid, tall, commanding center back. I feel like we've got some leadership back there again that we've been missing. We've talked about that on a number of shows. And I'll tell you, I don't think that guy has missed a pass except the one pass he missed. We'll talk about that later, but that guy, he's been dead on until that one. But I've been really impressed with him, and I think it was a great pickup, and hopefully there's more coming.
Yeah, you do get some reassurance just seeing Miazga back and then the new CB doing his job right out of the gate. I mean, I think Pat Brennan was brave today on Twitter, and he took on some FC Cincinnati fans by saying like, is it really that bad if we don't add anything? Like, this is still a good team. And he had some points like Buka and Orishano are all like playing above their pay grade and doing a great job. I think where fans have a good point is kind of what we talked about at the top of the show, which is what's everybody else doing and what's FCC's standard now too. But We got a lot to get into because I think both sides of the fence there are pretty good. Jason, best and worst, how you doing, bud?
Doing well. Glad to be joining the absolute worst of soccer Twitter by paying for that check mark. There with the
Hey, thanks for personally financing it, dude.
the 343s and the World Soccer Talks of the world. Just great company to be in, guys. It's the closed system of social media. It used to be a pro rel system. You had to get promoted to get that check mark. Now you're just buying in like every other MLS club. Anyway, my worst. I'm gonna start off with worst as well. My worst is the field conditions at TQL Stadium. I don't want to beat up the grounds crew. I know they had like a really tough time because of the concert and then turning over an entirely new pitch in the middle of summer. And if you know anything about grass in Ohio, you don't want to be like trying to grow a lawn in the middle of summer. And we knew it was going to be rough. Carter Chapley had a great 3-page novel about it and the system that they were putting in, but it doesn't look great. And you do kind of worry a little bit about player health and safety. So hopefully the grounds crew can get that fixed. Best of the week. We lost Boston. Okay. Best of the week.
Is that what you just said?
Yeah. He just disappeared.
Lost Boston? Is that
that was it too? The best was that we lost Boston. No, for my best though is that we are 4 games away from a trophy, which, depending on your mood and the day of the week and how FC Cincinnati played that week, it does seem out of reach some days, but then other days it doesn't. So who knows? We could pick up a trophy here in 4 games. So that's always exciting.
No, Jason, if you know anything about me, I'm very stingy, usually financially, and I refuse to buy a new mic. This thing's been going out for 2 years, and I don't want to use my own money, and I definitely don't want to use CST's money. So I continue to barely get by with it, and I accidentally touched it, and I lost my thing. So
I think it might be time to invest in a new mic there, Boston.
I know. It's tough.
I know a guy, Boston.
So I guess that only leaves Brian. If we have to, we'll turn to him. I saw you in the First Financial Club. How'd you move up in the world? Buddy?
Yeah, I tell you what, it's amazing when you get free tickets from a family member. I love the sideline seats. That was a different vantage point from a end line. I do know I did take 45 players and family to the Monday night game versus NYCFC, which was a very disappointing 75 minutes and awesome 15 minutes. But I do know that I will never buy a seat in the upper level if I don't ever have to again, because the wind, I felt like, doesn't move up there. But worst of the week, as a potential future restaurant bar owner, I think the worst of the week is that one of the largest patrons of the Cincinnati bar scene is no longer with us with the club. So unfortunately, BOUPENDZA is gone. I've been championing.
What's he talking about?
I've been championing Boup for too long now.
I was thinking for a minute you were saying that I was moving away or something.
When
Audie's been gone for years.
We've been. Oh my god. I just remember all these flashbacks, like Corey Baird and Lucho and Boup are getting together, and the back heel, the sauce. Oh, he's feeling so confident, and boy, it's amazing. 6 months later, he is run out of town by the league, apparently. So that's my worst of the week. I do have 2 bests of the week. I think seeing Obi Wobodo and Pavel Buka in 2 different matches, having to adapt their play, but commanding in that midfield, and without Lucho, offering a tremendous impact in those matches. Were they flawless? No, but in that first match, Obi was kind of on an island, and he would do things a little bit more than he probably needed to do in some instances, but it was great to see him out there captaining the team. And then Pavel Buka, it was a rough and tumble match versus Santos Laguna, and I kind of leaned over to my my neighbor and said, "Hey, we need to throw our Eastern European out there to get a little aggressiveness," and he gave it right back. So awesome to Pavel, and tying that into looking semi-competent without Lucho Acosta on the field. So we've won 2 games and drew, but advanced on penalties without Lucho playing a majority of those minutes. So it's exciting to see FC Cincinnati adapt. And I think a large part of that was a guy we'll talk about later, and Luca Orishano stepping up and being creative and in attacking opposing defenses.
Yeah, good points there. Joseph throwing in, let's go here. Worst injuries, drop off and play after Miami. No add-ons in the transfer window. I assume you're leaving off. You must be talking about offensive add-ons. Best, our only addition is lights out addition, changing the momentum. Jay Yates saying best being there for the 4 goals in 10 minutes. Oh man, I should have made that my worst. I got to sell out. I got to sell out Kana. My wife left at halftime. She said nothing good can happen from this match. She left at halftime to go home to go to bed. And she missed the 4-goal comeback.
Oh,
and
I feel her. We'll get to that.
I haven't let her live it down since, man. Worst, I have been a huge proponent of the grounds crew, but this pitch is not living up to expectations. Yeah, bad time for a concert, I guess. I think FCC's learned some valuable lessons about hosting a summer concert in a city full of concert venues that probably doesn't need to be hosted anything. Yeah, it would be interesting to see what they do going forward. But the pitch is the pitch now, and we're stuck with it. They're not going to replace it again, so we're going to have to try to grind through till that grass can grow some roots, because dang, it has not grown any roots. All right, my best is hearing the fear of the Liga MX fans just sitting directly behind me as Lucho Acosta was subbed on in this match on Monday. It was kind of cool. They were good sports. They were having a blast when they scored early in that one, and then it was the second half, right, when Lucho gets the sub on, and literally I hear the guy behind me. He's like, "Who is that?" "Oh no, that's Lucho Acosta." Like, they knew exactly. They didn't know many players on our team, but they knew that one. And although he didn't do much, Lucho Acosta even said himself after the game that he's rusty and getting back into it. But he still puts the fear of God in mortal men, man. I thought that was pretty cool, just to like hear from behind me. The worst is I heard today that Major League Soccer is taking over women's sports, probably all the Olympic teams, NWSL, the U.S. women's team, pretty much anything that involves a women athlete. Look out, Simone Biles, Don Garber's coming for you. And then I guess as of this evening, it has all been proven false. I do feel bad for the guy that wrote it, because he probably maybe thought he had something. We've been there, but poor guy. I think an Atlanta blog put out an article that MLS is launching their own women's soccer league. It is not true. If you got caught up in the hype like our USL friends did, this one can pass you by, and we'll move on to another day.
I will say this, is that while his story might not have been true, I think there is a large demand for teams involved with MLS to join the women's soccer realm. And I think that's an exciting thing for our game. I think you're going to see, Nashville, FC Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, NYCFC. I think you're going to see a lot of these teams do that. I mean, NYCFC is going to have a beautiful building, and what better showcase for women's soccer would it be to have, an NYCFC or affiliated New York team in that gorgeous building in downtown New York City? I'm all for it. Shucks that, his, stories fall through, but I think in the overall thing, this will be looked in a positive light, that there really is a tremendous upside, I think, in the growth of the women's game.
The Columbus Cleveland little slip of the tongue there, was that kind of foreshadowing them playing Leagues Cup games up in Cleveland?
No? Dude, I've said this from day one. I think Columbus is definitely walking a fine line of moving to that Cleveland whenever the Cleveland Browns stadium and everything else. I mean, great that they were saved, and I really hope that they can keep their team. But I don't trust that owner. I think a lot of people, with hearing the Flying J stories and everything, get a little apprehensive, and there's nothing that would prove the contrary right now.
I'm just saying the renders the new Brown Stadium looks like a bigger lower.com field.
There was some panic on those releases.
It really looks like just
I mean, my one of our best friends is a season ticket holder for Columbus, and they had to sign a waiver saying, hey, part of your season tickets can guarantee that several games could move to Cleveland and you still have to buy them. That's wild. That's true.
That's crazy.
That is true. It's not season games yet. It's just Leagues Cup, right?
No, I think it's anything.
Yeah, it's anything.
Oh, really? Wow.
Hell is real on the lake. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think the Haslams having it. If you're the Haslams and you want to take the most innocent take possible, it's that they're trying to spread the crew to Cleveland and get those extra fans.
It's not a new thing though. They used to play all their not all, but they used to play several US Open Cup matches at Akron's football stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think
not a new thing. I think it's an okay idea personally, but you have to be particular in what you're doing. You're not going to move Messi up to Cleveland. That's not what you should do. That'd be hilarious. It'd be so funny. Hilarious. Gotta be so funny. Sorry.
If we had to go play our games in Lexington, though, I'd be a little peeved, right? Because it's
yeah,
you got to go drive.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's like moving our games. Never mind. You can't. I mean, come on, Lexington. Congrats, Lexington.
Do the Bengals ever play in Ohio Stadium?
No.
Why would they move?
Yeah.
To get the Columbus fan. I don't know. Because they already have them.
Care. Or Mike Brown doesn't care.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we had an interesting conversation, though. I will say that article about MLS, starting a third women's league, it did get some fun. It woke a couple of us up on a Monday, and we had to discuss, like, FCC's interested in the team. What would they pick if all of a sudden this came out of the blue? Because everybody's sitting here assuming NWSL.
I can confirm our friends, high-level friends at FC Cincinnati, absolutely agree that story is not true. I mean, they've been so adamant, and they've been very walking that fine line. Like, they've investigated both USL and the NWSL brand, and I think there's a definite preference there. So having this come out of left field, we're like, hey, what's going on?
It was a real testament. It was a real testament to confirmation bias. Because as soon as it came out, like Brian, I think you and I both were kind of like, I don't believe this. And then later you saw that it was written by a 16-year-old. Like, come on, this guy doesn't have like a scoop. But
I can't wait till Grayson writes a story and you have to apologize live on this air. I cannot wait.
but then like you had
Grayson,
like
get on.
All the blue checks who paid for Twitter that unfortunately were joining their ranks. We're like, oh my God, MLS is taking over women's soccer. And it was all the usual suspects. It was the pro rel heads. It was the World Soccer Talks. It was all of them. And you're just like, I can't wait for this to come out to not be true. Because, the Northern Guard up in Detroit's like, see, MLS wants to take over everything. And then you got duped by a 16-year-old, guys.
I was half tempted to tweet from the CST account. Breaking. We've heard news Cincinnati will be the first team to join MLS's new women's league.
I mean, I've heard good rumor that Liga MX and USL are going to merge and we're going to have a Northern Liga MX league.
I think I read that somewhere too. I don't remember where that was.
Yeah. I mean, it was sourced and everything with people who totally are not fake.
Who weren't made up for this article.
No, they weren't made up at all.
I'll just say this. I didn't follow that story much. I just followed our Slack thread, and that was entertainment enough for me seeing Jason come alive in that space and just slamming this whole thing. I'll spare everybody the details, but that was pure entertainment for me, Jason. Thank you for keeping me awake on a Monday at work.
You're welcome. It distracted me from doing a really, really boring spreadsheet at work for at least half an hour. So,
All right. Well, we want to, before we get too far along, we do want to thank Apollo Home for being an amazing 2024 sponsor. If you have HVAC, plumbing, or electrical needs, reach out. They've been serving the greater Cincinnati and southern Dayton areas for, I didn't know this, 110 years. It's ridiculous. And they would love to help you if you ever need anything. Short and sweet this week. Just give them a shout. If you need anything. And again, they support CST for 2 years now. Crazy. And thanks to them. All right. We did have a fun Leagues Cup. FC Cincinnati is still not eliminated, even after doing some resting some players, doing a little bit of rotation. Acosta's played a whopping 40 minutes of Leagues Cup. Already has a penalty kick to his name. We're still in this round of 16, baby. Are you starting to, I kind of want to know, are you three, us four, starting to get excited about Leagues Cup? I mean, I know there was some meh, it's not Open Cup. Brian seemed to be the only one before the season who was gung-ho Leagues Cup. Where are we at now? There's only four games to your
number one fan.
Yeah, we're so close. I know it's 4 games still, but I always like to see our team win. I'm on what Noonan said, was it the first Leagues Cup game? Let's just get a win and let's just get on the right track. And it's always good to win. And whether you're resting players or not, let's just take the W and get out of it and break that streak that we had going. And here we are in the next round. And man, I'd like to see us go for it at this point. But again, we're still nursing some injuries that I think they're going to be nagging injuries for a while still, even when folks come back. So do I want to see us win? Absolutely. Would I rather see us take the league? Absolutely. Yeah.
I think there's an argument to be had that this Leagues Cup can teach you some things about your club to apply in an MLS Cup, and that's how to win versus a team that's going to bunker, how to break them down, how to change up your philosophies, substitution patterns, putting Corey Baird as a right back to close out the last 6-8 minutes of a match so he can be on to take a penalty kick. I think those are all great things to be had. You could probably say the same thing about utilizing those in the U.S. Open Cup, but I think having the Santos fans in the upper corner was pretty cool. I think that relationship's going to be there. I love some of the things that we add with the in-game with the Spanish language. I'd like to see us apply all those things. Overall, it's a different style. You see teams like Santos that come out like a Red Bull over the first 30 minutes of the match.
Yeah.
Put us on our back foot in a meaningless match, as some people might say. I think it'll sharpen the sword for us going in the future. And every game we played, it's been exciting. You've had to have guys make impacts. That NYCFC game, that last 15 minutes was incredible. And I still don't think, we're down 2-0, but I still thought we were the better team overall in that match. They had a couple crazy finishes, but yeah, man, I would like to see some changes. There's no reason why Mexican teams should be playing Mexican teams until the very, very end.
Right.
So I think there's some changes that need to be there. Playing games in Mexico, I think we can maybe move the calendar a little bit, but overall, I think it's a good product, man. It's a much better product than US Open Cup. I'm sorry to people are gonna be pissed about that, but these games are 1,000 times better than anything we see when it's USL versus MLS. I'm sorry.
You made a really good point about getting guys experience who maybe aren't getting a lot of playing time, and part of that's due to injury or whatever. But if you look at the U.S. Open Cup, you're playing those USL teams, and God love them, they're usually not as good as MLS teams. And so really, what kind of experience are your reserves getting when they're getting meaningful minutes against, Hartford Athletic or whatever? Whereas we're getting guys who are not only getting experience against other MLS teams, but when a Liga MX team comes into town, Santos Laguna is just as good as most MLS teams. They've had a rough go
hard on that.
They would finish middle of the pack in MLS over the course of a season.
I thought that was a fun game to watch.
I don't know.
Querétaro, not very great, but
they're better than Santos Laguna, aren't they?
But I think so. But they also started off the season against the 4 toughest teams.
It's hard to tell because
MX.
they've only played 4 games over there.
Yeah.
One of my points about this whole thing is I don't think that the bottom of Liga MX is extremely great, but I mean, there's talent there. I mean, you definitely see there's some style and tactical,
but I don't
or not
think
tactical.
I don't think it's like as bad as USL.
I will say
be
something.
perfectly
I will say something.
It's better. I mean, it's wildly better. Yes.
I will say something about it. They played us very differently than most MLS teams ever would play us. Like I thought
yeah.
that was.
They were the New York Red Bulls of the USL,
Yeah.
dude, or of Liga MX. They were the Red Bulls.
Yeah, I thought that was an
30
interesting
minutes.
game. I mean, I turned to Kano at one point and I was like, man, we don't see this every week. Like it was high paced until they wore themselves out. And it wasn't.
That was a tough match. And I think to Jason's point, rolling out some of our reserves, some of our younger players, guys like Dado Valenzuela that is seeing more and more time.
London Nahedo.
Yeah.
CST.
I think a guy like Dado that's getting quality minutes as the year progresses and getting to play against Liga MX teams as kind of that number 10 when Lucho's sitting, where I think we're seeing him develop more than we saw early on. I mean, his dives are looking a whole lot better too, by the way.
He's the best. He's the best player in the league at getting like fouled and making it look like murder. I swear. I was saying this to Mike Prentice. Mike Prentice was sitting behind me, by the way, during the game. Nice to meet you, buddy. That's what our conversation is about. How he'll get nicked and just he'll look like he gets crushed.
When is that card for simulation coming for him? At some point,
he always gets hit. He always gets hit.
They do go after him. Yeah, they go after him.
They do.
Now,
but I don't like seeing them go after him, but they're going after him because he's getting on the ball and he's making
in the middle of the field.
I do love seeing that. That kid's really developed as the years gone on.
There's one thing with that he gets me so angry. He goes into the same space as Luca quite often.
Their communication is not the best.
Yes, that needs to be worked on. But overall, yes, he's. I think he's excelling beyond a lot of our wildest imaginations in a position that's very difficult for a youngster to play in.
Yeah,
no doubt.
And I think Brian had a really good point too about like mixing up the calendar. So this is where I would like to see it change. I'd like to see Leagues Cup be played when Liga MX is in their mid-season break and not like 4 games into their season.
What's that, a month later?
It'd be a month earlier or so. So like do Leagues Cup a little bit earlier and yes, mix in some games in Mexico. I think my issue with it this year, and this isn't FC Cincinnati's fault, is that Querétaro is not really a team that I'm super interested in seeing. Great, we got Santos Laguna. It's great we might get Cruz Azul. That's a team that I definitely would want to see. But, you know, the mix-up of it, like adding the Mexican teams is great, but on the other hand, when you're in these East-West regions, we're going to have to play Philly again. Right? Yeah. That's what 3 times this year we're going to have to play them at least.
Yeah. There's a battle on Facebook right now about whether we play subs or start playing for real. Philly is doing well again. They're not in the slump that we saw them last. So I think that might, it depends really if you're Noonan, if you want to go for this thing or not. The problem is he's always going to want to go for it against his former club. So I think I'd be shocked if we go heavy subs on Philadelphia. And then Jason, it's most likely you will see, if we can beat Philly, you probably will see Cruz Azul because they're probably the team to win that next game. So it would go Philly, Cruz Azul, and then most likely the winner of the Miami Columbus.
Tigres is there, dude. Tigres, the best team in North America.
There's a possibility Tigres knocks off Columbus or Miami, but
I think it's a strong possibility.
Good chance for that.
You would hope. I think everybody's kind of shocked that Monterrey got bounced so early too. But hey, it cost them their coach. So
right, any given week though, right? Any given week.
I just think it's good to have, you know, I as a team that want, you know, be perennially in CONCACAF Champions Cup, whatever. I do like seeing more of these Mexican teams and learning more about them, seeing their fan bases. And maybe one year we can host Club America and have to pay $195 a ticket or wherever St. Louis is doing. But I do like it overall. I mean, it's to me, it's more not passionate, entertaining. I'm not finding the right words, but
it's a different style of play too.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
So to just give our guys experience in a different, they move the ball differently. They make their runs from different places. They're sending the ball from different spots on the field. I think it's just more experience and exposure to a different style of play that I think will bring the MLS game along even more.
And one thing I'll say this later about like Luca Orshano, and do we want to make him a DP? Do we not? Seeing his effectiveness versus some of these teams without Luca or Lucho, that makes me think like, okay, he could be pretty competitive in a CONCACAF Champions League Cup game, and so it's just another evaluation method.
Best player in MLS, if he could use his right foot like he uses his left.
He's trying. He tried to shoot once.
He did, yeah.
Tried.
But as dominant as he's
Kinda
been,
weak.
he's doing it all with the one foot. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Sounds like he needs to get over to Beyond Exercise, Brian. Which by the way is our local physical and therapy sponsor of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Helps anyone get active and stay active. In fact, they've helped Nick Hagelin and Brandon Vasquez with their physical therapy and strength training needs during the off season. Ask the fellas at Beyond Exercise about their ACL injury prevention screen, which was piloted with Nick and Brandon. Learn more at gobeyondexercise.com.
We might have to change that ad read at some point.
Yeah, I'll reach out to it. But all right, I got one more question on Leagues Cup, then I promise we can move on if you guys want to. Yuya Kubo, are you ever allowing him to take a penalty kick?
It happens.
Yes.
It happens. What? So
that keeper got lucky.
Yeah, but he
I actually was super nervous about it.
But he won a match, right? That's how they got there in penalties. He saved several in their last match against Atlanta, correct?
Right.
You know who I'm not going to give a PK to very often? Sergio Santos, because he made me sweat. Now, Luca Orshano, homie looks like he knows what to do.
Oh, yeah. We're sitting there discussing it before the game, and I go, right off the bat, I said, Buca, Orshano, Acosta are your three musts. And I said, Baird, Santos scare me, even though they're forwards.
So, I mean, you see this
I would honestly almost go through all our midfielders.
You see this in substitution patterns with Pat. He goes with guys that he trusts. And Kubo is damn near top of that list. It's like Lucho, Kubo, in all honesty. So, I trust Kubo.
Orshano was right there, though.
This is one of those stupid rules soccer has that I kind of wish they would change. That if the person who gets fouled should have to take the PK.
Dude, I 100% agree with you.
Like a free throw in basketball.
Absolutely.
Yeah, NBA in it.
Yeah, because in basketball, I can't be like, you foul Shaq. He's not going to be like, all right, I'm going to have Kobe shoot this for me. Like,
unless if it's Alvis Powell, we're going to not give Alvis Powell the chance to shoot the penalty kick. No, sorry, Jason.
Dude,
have like a short list.
Imagine if that's like a whole strategy. You always let a guy take PKs because you know he can't hit them or get them.
But a PK, even at the worst of times, it's like a 75% chance for the shooter.
77.
Yeah, it's really high percentage. So it was Luca the one that was fouled? Or was it
Kubo?
Kubo was fouled.
Kubo was fouled? I can't remember.
Yeah, from Harrison.
So in this case, it worked. But yeah, there have been other instances where people have been fouled, and here comes Lucho. He's like, I'm going to take that. Thank you. And then he misses. So.
Kevin Michael, Powell's PK shot goes 30 yards over the bar. Just like the kid from Santos.
Yep. That would have been if we would have let Powell take it. No doubt in my mind.
Can he punt for the Bengals?
It's been a long time since I saw a penalty shootout where no ball was saved and nobody missed it until sudden death.
The best part of that was Roman after the dude skied it going, who? Like he did he actually did something.
Roman dove incorrectly every single time.
Yep.
So who's giving him the water bottle? That guy needs to be valued. Like
the story is Roman Celentano is 2-0 in penalty shootouts.
Is he really? Golly. So Roman, I think, saved 2 his first year.
Yeah.
And since then, nada.
Yeah,
Somebody's going to correct me. I
He did
can't
not.
wait to
He
be
did not
wrong.
scout those. He did not scout
it up.
League MX before we went into that
No.
match. Because you're right, Brian. He didn't.
He
guess
was
a
talking
single one.
smack, dude. I loved it. He was like walking over the line. I mean, my dude was
Well,
trying to scare people with a mustache.
you know what's funny is I recently watched a YouTube video about how delaying the penalty kick adds to your percentage if you're a keeper, and Roman was purposely delaying the kicks. He was staring at the. So yeah, I had just watched this whole thing. People did some group did stats on keepers that like talk smack or delay the kick, and they have a much higher percentage of that person either missing or saving it, and it didn't work at all. So I don't know, but I want to send that as survey data to the group that I watched.
My favorite, man, that you can't do it anymore, but as a goalkeeper, my favorite was grabbing the ball and handing it to the shooter and walking out. And, I'm taller than most of them. Most keepers are. Just good luck. Give them the ball and walk back. You can't do that anymore. But Roman was doing his best to get in the shooter's head for sure.
I
Ask him how
honestly,
their sister's doing while you hand them the ball, that kind of thing.
I honestly, I kind of leaned over to my neighbor and said, "Hey, Evan Leroux, he does all the PK practices. I was really interested to see if that was going to be a sub. Roman, again, I looked it up. He's saved 2 PKs out of 15 professionally in league play. So what's that? He's paced another 10. So he saved 2 out of 25. I got it. That's statistically not good. So
yeah. You said what, 77 earlier? So
yeah, I mean,
he needs to be on the other side of that.
1 was missed, 2 were missed, 2 were missed, something like that. So I don't know.
Luck
I think something needs to happen.
Yeah, he should not sign up for extra slips in the Hunger Games. That's what I've learned. Dated reference.
Yeah. Just move on that one, bud.
All right. Yeah, we do have to mention it. I heard it at the top of the show in the best and the worst. Yamil Assad did pick up an injury, probably going to be out for the foreseeable future, which is a big bummer because I think Leagues Cup has been his coming out moment. Maybe a little bit before the season, but she's really shown his stuff here in the last few games, and been pretty dependable for Noonan as well. So big bummer there. We want to give a big shout out to everybody who supports us on Patreon. If you have any desire whatsoever to help CST pay bills, you can do the same thing. You can also get in touch, message us at feedback@cincinnatissoccertalk.com, tweet at us at Cincy Soccer Talk. We got to get our engagement up. We've been slacking, I think, just not as interactive as we used to be. So send us some stuff to make us interact with you guys. That'd be pretty cool, and probably get us out of our shell. We have fun conversations, as you can tell, with each other, but why not jump on it and do more social media? Probably can get there. All right, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the big giant hole that FC Cincinnati created by firing Aaron BOUPENDZA due to a breach of contract. And
MLS, not FC Cincinnati, MLS.
I'm sorry.
Who saw that coming?
Not
we
me.
Were all trying to figure out, do we buy him out? Is anybody going to look at him? And all of a sudden the league steps in and says, nope, you're gone.
Here's my question, guys. There's dudes that have legitimately done like crimes and have still stayed on contract. And this guy gets punched in the face and doesn't show up for 2 weeks of practice and gets fired. Like, how the hell did that happen?
But did they commit crimes and then still go to practice?
Yeah, there you go.
Because that's
no,
the
Reynoso got like banned in Argentina. No. What?
Well,
who do we pay off?
Well, for the record, Reynoso could have totally been easily let go by Major League Soccer.
We have guys gambling on the league that are still getting paid.
Minnesota knew they could still get some money out of him. See, there is a downside for FC Cincinnati here. By letting him go, they can no longer get a penny from any kind of transfer value from him.
Were we getting that anyway? Like, I just don't feel like
could have gotten something, like $500,000, something.
maybe the guy was just not doing himself any favors, right? If he wanted to play somewhere else, you think even just showing up to practice, knowing this team doesn't want you and they want to move on from you, but you've got to show up, right? Or what other team is going to look and say, I want that guy on my team because he's been such a class act in Cincinnati.
There's no team in the world that would pay $2 million. Turkey, whatever. Like, no, they would not. There's no freaking way. Like, it would be us like paying 1.5 million, having him on our books somehow. Best case scenario, I guarantee this will be litigated somehow. Yeah. But it devastates me. I think he has got a ton of talent, but I mean, just go down the list with his issues with the national team, his issues with his cell phone and whatever happened there, getting punched in the face by a professional boxer, not showing up. I mean, there at some point, Carl Lindner, Jeff Birding, they have a family brand here, and this gentleman just did not live up to it. I pray for him. I hope he can figure it out. But at the end of the day, I think this is absolutely the best thing for the club, and maybe it'll wake Aaron up, and he can move on somewhere and continue his professional career with a change philosophy. I don't know.
I've been trolling people all day online, so I'm going to keep doing it.
Oh, never. You would never do that.
No, I never do that. Let me just be the jerk of the group here, but we've now had with Chris Albright signings. Was Brenner brought in under Chris Albright? No. He was not? Okay. So this kind of ruins my argument. Yeah, Brenner, Barreal, and now BOUPENDZA.
What's wrong with Barreal?
Barreal wasn't with them either.
Barreal, like, whatever. What I'm trying to say is, couldn't keep Brenner happy, and he jetted for
Marco Angulo.
Less than what he wanted. Couldn't keep Barreal happy. He's barely getting playing time in Brazil for less than what we wanted. You bring in BOUPENDZA, and it crashes and burns. All I'm asking is, should we, the fan base, be worried about Chris Albright's ability to bring in a DP striker?
Marco Angulo.
Oh, that's another.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I think I said this on our Twitter. I think, could he be a little gun shy? Do you want to tie up a long-term contract with a guy who you have 10 days? I don't think he's vetting a guy over 10 days, but I think it's like, hey, we got to pony up here. Might have to overpay, and do we want to tie ourselves up with this? I think there's absolutely gun shy. There's something I've been thinking of is flex Miles to a DP spot. Flex Miles, he's max contract. Flex him over to DP the rest of the year, and you can still throw 1.2, 1.3 million bucks worth of cap worth of thank you, ma'am, on 3-4 players.
If you go tell fans Miles is our new DP, they're gonna riot.
But he's the DP for the rest of the year.
If you go get a midfielder, a left back, and a forward, yeah. There's I mean, would we like a new DP? Sure. But if you go out and say, hey, guess what? That market wasn't there, but you know, it makes better sense for us where we're going to put a guy who makes that max contract on that slot. And then we got 3 guys who are affordable that we can place throughout the contract next year, or throughout the salary budget next year. I mean, would I love a DP9? Absolutely. Would I love to see a Cucho Hernandez type of guy coming? Absolutely, because you can still bring in 2 other guys. But I think there's ways that Albright has an out.
Yeah, this isn't to diminish. I think Chris Albright's doing a great job. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here.
I mean, he's doing a very good job, and he's
the man replaced Barreal with Orishano. That's
true.
Failed on that side.
But imagine if we had Barreal and Luka at the same time.
We have Yedlin.
Could have done that.
But we really have a left back then, either way.
Right. Luka can play on the right, too.
We only can bring in so many max contract players.
I think we're very set on the Yedlin Orishano.
Yeah, we are.
As much as I'd like that DP striker in this window, I'm okay if we don't. If we can bring in, I think we need midfield depth right now. And we've talked about this on previous shows. If we can give guys like Obi a rest and trust that someone coming in that's not Kubo, can fill that spot and do a decent job in keeping possession and winning the ball back, and we can slot not Lucho's already up there, but slot Kubo up top, I think he produces well. If we've got Orishano, we've got Lucho, we've got Dotto working into the mix now, I think Kubo is a workable solution for the time being, instead of pulling the trigger on a number 9 that who knows could come in like BOUPENDZA.
You have to bring in you have to bring in bodies still. You knew 3-4 weeks ago you still needed a fullback depth, because Yamil Assad's not he's not a fullback in general. And I mean, come on, Yamil Assad can't play 60, 70 minutes. So you knew you needed a fullback. You knew you needed a midfielder, because Malik Pinto's good at certain things.
Mhm.
So you need a little versatility there. And you had an idea you might need a forward. So to be 2 days out and not have any of those 3 buckets, yes, center back, tremendous right now, looking great. But you have to at least fill 2 of those roles. And if you have 3 senior roster spots open when this window closes, that's a huge issue for the fan base. That's a huge issue for the ownership, and that's how you get a president hired over you, in all honesty, by not filling out the roster like that.
And I think the thing that's getting the fan base, me too, up in arms a little bit, is the fact that other teams are out there making themselves better. Not just other teams, but other teams that are in the hunt for the Supporters Shield and could be in the hunt for MLS Cup. Columbus got better. RSL got better. LAFC got better. Charlotte's getting better, and they're kind of an underrated team, I think, at this point. And
apparently they're going for a really big signing right now. If they land, they won't land it, but if they land that, they're going to be
if they get Miggy Almiron, that's going to be huge. And
but you have to have other players around him.
But they brought in a couple of others. I mean,
and
it's MLS, dude. Like, you can
1-0 games, places. Baby.
Yeah.
Listen, when Weston McKennie shows up on Wednesday, you'll all
let's go. Pavel Buka to forward.
We used all our energy on Weston McKennie.
That would be the funniest possible outcome of all of this.
I saw Jordan.
We didn't see the league sending Boup packing. Who knows what's going to happen?
Oh man! At some point, can we just run 7 attacking midfielders in this formation? The sword. Let's just do it. Just positional fluidity.
It is interesting that there haven't been any rumors, though, other than that one guy from Club America.
That's super common, though. That's happened for several of our signings. They've just poof, came out of nowhere. Either Tommy Scoops gets it or it just happens. And it's kind of weird. FCC front office has been a lot more closed off than they have been in past years. So the Weston McKennie thing leaked, but I think that was a purposeful one where they were trying to drum up some hype behind it. And we've seen Cincinnati do that before. Try to build some excitement, maybe convince the player or something with the social media stuff.
I mean, you could take a flyer on Aaron BOUPENDZA. I heard he's out there on a free. You can bring him back and not pay him DP salary.
He could mature up.
I think he's in town still, maybe.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much right now. God dang it. Let's go after the DJ guy. Who was that DJ guy that we used to have?
Jurgen Lacadia?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, man. One of the biggest what ifs. Because he looked really good in his first 2 games and then got hurt. Ugh. So sad.
I'd rather get Brenner back than any of those options.
He scored this past weekend. Good for him.
Good for him. It only took you.
He's got a hairdo too, baby.
Does he?
The Fulani.
Oh, he didn't. Is he dyeing his hair like half of our team? Nah, that's a bummer. We only take guys that dye their hair.
If you can rock the green hair, power to you, pal.
I wonder if Luca has a friend or something in Argentina, like another forward who's maybe a U22 that we could bring in, just a little bit of depth.
Can we just call Velez again and just say, hey, send us 3 dudes? We have this really good relationship right now.
Yeah.
I know.
What's happened with the Acosta recruiting network? That used to pay some dividends because Lucha sells. And then Obi brought in our center back, right? Did you see that story?
So, I mean, they knew each other. Yeah.
They had
Well,
played together, right?
They played like as kids, dude.
Yeah, they asked him to call him and put in a good word. Like they totally used the personal connection there.
Yeah. I'm not going to panic unless we get to like 5. We have 2 days left, right? End of day Wednesday. So if we get to about 3:00 in the afternoon tomorrow and we haven't heard anything, I might be a little panicky.
Yeah.
Because if someone is going to be signed, they probably already need to be here and getting all the medical and all that stuff done before the clock strikes midnight or whatever on Thursday morning.
If there's one thing that Chris Albright loves more than allocation money for like random reasons, it's a loan for a young player. So watch something happen there, maybe a buy. I think we need a fullback so bad. That's my like top of my laundry list. My wish list. A 9 would be great. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe Thursday, if we have another surprise show, we'll be like, oh, Chris Albright's amazing. But it's nerve-wracking because the windows only open for winning championships so long because guys move on, guys get older, guys get hurt. Miazga, you have to win now with Acosta. You have to throw the chips in.
Yeah.
And you're really going to have, we all got our renewals this past week, all going up 25%. And if you don't go out and do something, I think there's going to be a lot of questions.
Yep.
I wonder how many of the guys coming in that we Albrights sought after and we've just lost out to an LAFC because of a market or because of, I don't know that it's necessarily money, but the market, maybe it's not the right position, but I think has a history of getting not the top name guys that are coming into LAFC, but the guys that are showing out in the lower leagues in Europe that are producing guys that maybe we haven't heard of. So hopefully things come. I think Wednesday, I'll panic Wednesday morning if we don't hear anything. I'll give them another day. I'll panic Wednesday morning.
I'd be a little surprised, Brian, just to your point, if we're losing out, only because we did such a good job of competing with other teams and beating like Miles Robinson and in the front window. So I don't know why we were so good in the front window that would have changed to the summer window. I do think we've lost people we've went for, like that much is obvious.
Sure.
And I think some of that was because we were shooting for the moon and said, why not us? And did some things. I think if a couple of Albright's random ones that we may not even fully know about would have landed, we'd be like, wow, what a window. And LAFC, I mean, in my opinion, is doing that. I think they've been a little bit lucky. They went for at least one Hail Mary, I think, and they've got it. So
Giroud and then Griezmann.
Yeah. So we're gonna.
Who's going to LA or Galaxy?
Is Griezmann going to Galaxy?
Is that who's?
I think he's going to LAFC.
Galaxy got somebody.
Yeah, Galaxy did. They got one big one, but I wasn't too impressed.
LAFC is in talks to sign Griezmann, so yeah.
Well, I mean, LAFC is always going to go for, like, I mean, they got Hugo Lloris. They're going to go for like these big name.
They got Lloris, they got Giroud, maybe Griezmann. They're going
to go for some retirees every year. I mean, that's just going to be their thing. And I don't think Cincinnati is going to have to be like Columbus and Philly and try to go out and get, like Brian mentioned, the people in Europe who we maybe haven't heard about or South Americans.
Is there any like domestic guys that we could trade for? Like that seems to me like something that would be a last minute deal that we could see.
Who do we have? Who do we have?
Well,
what depth do we have that you would
superfluous needs? I mean, you have Corey Baird. Allocation money?
Does allocation money even exist anymore?
We have allocation money. Yeah, we have that. We could trade that. Although
we might have 2025 allocation money. I heard he's really in demand.
The further you get into the year, the lower value the 2024 has.
International spot.
I think, and here's one of the issues too, is that a lot of the domestic like forwards, they're overrated. Like
Left
they're.
back, Andrew Koopman, go get him. He's been hurt. Value's down. Go get him.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Chicago's firing their GM. Let's go.
I mean, hey, Chicago might have an extra forward we could just pick up for depth. Who knows? Yeah, it's. I have faith that they'll get something done. I mean, I think the postcast was talking about this. Like Miazga came in at a very last minute deal. Kelsey, I think, was kind of like as the window was closing, that was a deal. So it's not unusual for them to announce something at the stroke of midnight, but
Kelsey,
it is awful quiet.
Kelsey was a weird one because there was rumors and then it fell apart. And then all of a sudden he was signing. That was a strange one. I feel like it was some of that with Miazga, even when he signed. There were some rumors and nobody knew what was happening till the last minute. So I don't know. What if we get this big name guy that no one's even talking about yet because they've kept it so quiet and our jaw just dropped?
I want another Obi, a guy I had no idea existed but rocks.
From what I'm hearing Brian say is McKinney had rumors and then it died.
Telling you.
Hey, Brand Vasquez isn't playing. Let's take one on loan.
He actually before that he'd come home.
Yeah, he's got his wife and kid here.
Yeah,
that's gotta suck. Dude.
He makes insane money though. Now he makes like $3+ million.
But he's still part of our Beyond Exercise read, and he should be back here.
Yeah.
For that reason alone. Yeah. They'll make us out to be like out of date on our ad reads.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it now. Maybe we can get Beyond Exercise to broker the deal.
Let's do it.
Dude, imagine the listeners we'd have for that segment. If
so
we got Brandon to come home.
I have a deal though. Last second deal, Nick Marcanic for Corey Baird. Let's do it.
Oh, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Do it.
I'd do it in a heartbeat.
We gave him away.
I would do it for Corey Baird and Santos. Double deal.
I can't say anything negative about Sergio Santos. I can't say anything negative. My dude. Mike Prentice knows everything. He was just laughing at me the entire game. All my snide comments about Corey Baird, and I couldn't watch the Corey Baird PK. I was like the whole time I had my hands in my hands.
Do you think Marcanic? I actually had this thought, which, by the way, if you don't know who we're talking about, former FC Cincinnati striker, tearing it up in USL Championship for the Charleston Battery. Absolutely Golden Boot winner, rocking that league down there. Do you think he could do it in Major League Soccer? Do you think he just kind of came? He figured it out. The dots have clicked. If he had Lucho behind him, he would tear it up in MLS, or is there too big of a gap? It would fall apart.
Two words, Sean Nicoli.
I think with a guy like Lucho, he could figure it out, but I don't think he was ready when he was playing for us. I don't blame the team one bit for sending him away, but I don't think he was ready. I think it sounds like he's found his way. But again, I don't think we're that team. Is he scoring? He's a big guy, right? Tall guy.
Yeah.
Is he scoring balls in the air, crosses coming in? That's not the way we play. So who knows? Maybe he wouldn't be that guy for us. Mm-hmm. But if he scored anybody that's scoring goals consistently, I think maybe we would take.
I do think he'll be back in Major League Soccer next year. It may be for like San Jose or there's one Western Conference team that always takes a lot of USL players. I wouldn't be shocked to see him out in the West next year, but somebody's gonna pull him back.
Yeah. Hey, Justin made a good point in the chat. If you want to throw that up there, the Europe was just finished their preseason and roster construction, and so maybe there's guys that we're hoping to make rosters there that have not. That maybe Albright's waiting on to see.
What an optimist!
I'm gonna throw a name out there that has been discussed with New York Red Bull, who I think would absolutely kill it in MLS if he could get on target, and I think would be a great DP for us. No, Timo Werner, who currently plays for Tottenham Hotspur. I think that his name has been thrown out there. I think he's a gettable DP. He's older, but he's talented. I think there you go. There's a rumor I'm starting right now. Timo Werner to FC Cincinnati.
All right. Well, if it happens, you're going to be a freaking genius. We're going to cut this clip and post it everywhere. All right, let's get into your final thoughts. We have hit the hour mark. We got to close out. People are starting to pile in here, which is funny because it's the end of the show. But let's jump in. We'll start with you, Mr. Brian Weigel, last at the top of the show, first at the bottom of the show. Give us what's on your mind.
Luca Orshano, designated player 2025. I think there is a big decision coming for a very talented player for FC Cincinnati. I think you have to look at the top 30 players, and I think he's absolutely in that bucket right now. Known commodity. I think there's a lot of people that say yes. Some might say no. I think situationally it makes a lot of sense that if he's going to play as a midfielder, if we make CONCACAF Champions League, and he's going to be ready to rock day one. So right now, chips in, DP, let's keep him here.
All right, I'm buying him. I'm fully on board with that.
Yeah.
So many teams gamble on DPs, and we have something we know. Why would you gamble?
Yeah, and he's good enough. Now, that being said, we still need somebody Lucho level.
Could you get him for? I'm sorry to derail.
It's so tight. It's so tight.
Could you get him for max TAM?
2.8 to $4 million transfer fee. He's going to make somewhere between 700 and 900, maybe more thousand.
Well,
Yeah, it's
it's
the
right
buyout
on
that's
that
the
line.
problem.
Yeah.
It's right there. So we'll see what happens. But I'm right now, I'm all in.
Good final thought. We probably should have had that in the show. All right, Mr. Biedenbach.
Oh man, I would love to see us go on, throw out some more starters, give Lucho a run out there in these next games. I don't know that he starts, but man, I'd love to see him knock the rust off and be ready for maybe a semifinal, maybe a final in the League's Cup here, and be ready for the season. But I'm going to reserve, all that said, I'm going to reserve my final thought just to be, personally out on the field again, coaching is just a feeling that I haven't had in a while. And I was a little hesitant to jump out. So my final thought was, man, I'm grateful for people asking me to come out and coach, get out with our goalkeepers, and all the talk on the show about Roman Celentano and what he should or shouldn't do. I'm actually getting to spit that out to guys that are learning the game and teaching the game out there. So selfishly, that's my final thought. It's good to be back out on the pitch again.
Nice. Glad to see it. Jason, you're up.
USL has not been the same since we left. It really took a downward spiral with us leaving and Nashville leaving. But big ups to USL today. Oakland Roots is getting to play. They're going to have a permanent stadium in the Oakland Coliseum when the A's move out. So good for them. I'm happy for them.
They'll fill it
Shut
out.
up, Brian. And also, it looks like Lexington Sporting, I think that's what they're called.
Yeah, our own Justin Blair's home.
Yeah, they're moving up to the championship. So they'll have Louisville will get another rival. Good for them. I'm happy for them.
For sure. That the league must be desperate.
But yeah, good news there on the USL side if you're a fan of the Roots or for the, what do they call themselves? The Horses, Lexington Sporting Club. So
yeah, Green Horses is what I call them. But I hope they do well, only because that's a drivable game. If they actually are able to figure it out, take off. I heard their stadium's in a bad spot, which is unfortunate.
It's kind of like in the outskirts of Lexington. It's not downtown like it should have been. Yeah.
Because I actually really do wish the best for him. I think that soccer taking off in Lexington and Louisville's is good for our overall region. I know a lot of people in those cities that pay attention to FCC. I mean, even our local Justin Blair, right, big FCC fan. I think the animosity between Cincinnati and Louisville is not as present with Lexington. There used to be and may still be a Lexington supporter group of FC Cincinnati. So I think you can easily follow both those teams, and I wouldn't mind watching. But they're going to have a tough hill. I think they're going to have a tough hill to climb with attendance, play. They're not doing well in the lower USL leagues, and so getting up to USL Championship, and they're going to have to improve that team for sure. They would not be getting pro rel, Jason.
No, they're promoted the American way.
Yeah,
the right way.
Good old American way.
By paying a bunch of money.
Well, thanks for tuning in tonight and following along live for those of you that were with us. And we hope you guys, podcast listeners, are having a great start to your week. And we hope this little bit of soccer talk could help. Cincinnati soccer talk, you could say. And we look forward to seeing you again next week if FC Cincinnati keeps on rolling here in the Leagues Cup. We'll keep rolling here on the radio waves. So